Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the science and the high-stakes proof behind a massive shift in the world of dog training. It's a change that's challenging decades of old-school thinking and really redefining what it means to be an expert. And it all starts with this powerful paradox from world-renowned veterinarian and behaviorist Dr. Ian Dunbar. Honestly, this one idea completely flips the entire debate about training methods on its head. Because what he's really saying is this: the incredible amount of skill you'd need to use a punishment tool correctly, with flawless timing and a perfect read of the dog, that is the exact same skill that makes the tool totally unnecessary to begin with. True expertise means you can solve the problem long before punishment is even on the table. But this isn't just some philosophical argument. There's a growing mountain of scientific research that's showing the very real and often hidden costs of using these aversive punishment-based methods. Major studies have consistently linked training that relies on punishment to a whole range of negative outcomes. We're talking everything from dogs that actually show worse obedience to a much higher risk of aggression. And it can even hurt the fundamental bond you have with your dog. And we're not talking about some small, isolated study here. That link to aggression, for instance, came from a huge 2014 study. They surveyed nearly 4,000 dog owners, and the data was just undeniable. A clear statistical link between punishment-based training and aggressive behavior. And you can literally see the physiological impact. A 2020 study actually measured cortisol, that's the stress hormone, in dogs' saliva. The results are pretty stark. The group trained with aversive methods, their stress levels spiked. The reward-based group, on the other hand, showed no significant increase at all. It just shows that there's a hidden biological cost to all this. So, if the science is pointing to all these risks, why are these methods still around? Well, let's break down a really common justification for one popular tool and see what neuroscience tells us is actually going on. So you'll often hear proponents frame tools like prong collars as just a form of communication, a mild discomfort that teaches the dog. But the neurological research, it tells a totally different story. Instead of turning on the learning parts of the brain, these kinds of stimuli are much more likely to light up the deep, primal survival systems, the ones related to fear and rage. And those systems actively get in the way of a dog's ability to learn. Now, here's where it gets really dangerous. It's a phenomenon called counter-conditioning. By repeatedly making a dog associate neck pain with something exciting, like playing or working, you can actually train them to ignore their own body's pain signals. This can mask the early warnings of really serious medical problems, like herniated discs or fractures, and potentially lead to an injury that you just can't come back from. But maybe the most powerful argument of all doesn't come from a lab. It comes from the real world, from pros in these high-stakes fields where performance is literally a matter of life and death, and where failure just isn't an option. Okay, let's start with Michelle Pulio. She was the director of research and development for Guide Dogs for the Blind, which is the biggest guide dog school in North America. We're talking about animals that are responsible for the safety and independence of people every single day. Over a career that spanned an incredible 42 years, Michelle didn't just work in the field, she led a global revolution. She was the one championing the switch to modern positive reinforcement training for these absolutely mission-critical service animals. So what happened when they made that switch? The result was a staggering 30% increase in the number of dogs that successfully qualified to become guide dogs. This wasn't just about ethics. It was a massive performance breakthrough that got more of these life-changing dogs to the people who desperately needed them. And this success story isn't just about assistance animals. Take a look at the prestigious Penn Vet Working Dog Center. They train elite canines for police departments, dogs doing high-stakes detection and patrol work. And they do it using exclusively positive reinforcement right from the time they're puppies. And their results? They're just undeniable. Out of 131 dogs that have graduated from their program, they've got an incredible 94% success rate, placing these highly skilled canines into some of the most demanding law enforcement jobs out there. Even in the super intense world of protection sports, a field that's been traditionally dominated by force, pioneers like Ivan Balabanov have proven that scientific, conflict-free methods can get you to the absolute top. I mean, the guy is a two-time world champion with 17 national and world titles. And this effectiveness is now recognized at the very highest levels. The U.S. Army's own training command officially states that all its dog training is based on positive reward. It's the same method used by the TSA and by Customs and Border Protection to train the thousands of dogs that keep our country safe. So, what does all of this add up to? Well, these aren't just a few isolated examples. They're all part of a seismic shift, a fundamental change that is completely reshaping the entire dog training profession. The market data makes this crystal clear. An overwhelming 83% of certified professional trainers now say they prefer positive reinforcement. This isn't just a trend, it's a consensus from the experts on the ground about what works best. And this momentum is just building. In 2018, all the major professional organizations adopted unified ethical standards. Then, in 2021, the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior came out and recommended only using reward-based methods. And all this demand is now driving a global market that's projected to blow past $83 billion. So, when you put all this evidence together, the lab results, the real-world proof, the professional consensus, it really leaves us with one critical question. Whether you're a trainer or just a dog owner, it's a question worth thinking about. Which brings us right back to where we started, back to Dunbar's paradox. True expertise isn't about having more powerful tools to control an animal. It's about developing such a deep level of understanding, timing, and skill that the old tools of force and fear become completely and utterly obsolete.